Whew. All right. So we're having a very slow bit rate for some reason. I think that might be a bad thing. I don't know. I couldn't even tell you what bit rate means. It means loading bits quickly. I don't know. Hold on. I have someone in my ear. Yes.
Can I change a setting?
You want to change a setting?
Oh, you will have to restart the stream maybe.
Oh, I'm streaming now. I'm live. If you want to come in, you can jump right in. But here we are. So I'd like to see if I could get some people on the show, but if it's not one thing or it's another, and it looks like Facebook is not letting me share the link, oddly. So the link is for the Restream interior chat. I was able to send it in a message, though, so there's that. Let's see. I know some other people wanted to join us at one time. So what is new in the alien world? I have to admit, I have to give it up for, I want to call him Cosmic Muffin. It's not Cosmic Muffin. Cosmic Muffin is the plane fuselage that some guy turned into a boat. But I know I'm not as lively as he is. He just puts those videos out, bam, 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 3 in a row sometimes. He always has something to talk about. I love it. I usually have to have more of a focus, and that's why I like when I say I would like to have more of a focus. I don't have a focus. That's why I like to have guests. Guests are fun to riff off of, and we can share people's experiences. So I'm here for a couple reasons today. One is to share my experience of the Hudson River Valley craft. That was a famous sighting that the Hudson River Valley is mostly New York, obviously Hudson River, if you know that. But Western Massachusetts is kind of on the eastern boundary of that. And we were in Westfield, Massachusetts, and we were playing tag outside in the forest when suddenly the forest was uplit by a slow-moving, low, black triangular craft with just a hum as it went by, and its underlit spotlight lit up the forest. So that was my Stranger Things moment. I'll never forget it. It's too bad I was too busy playing the game and hiding that I didn't run out of the forest, because it would have been in a large field and I would have had a great image to remember. Instead, I have this image of this spotlight going over the trees, and it was even more of my friend who noticed that it was triangular than myself. We all said afterwards that, hey, that was a strange plane. We didn't say UFO. Again, maybe we would have thought differently if we got a good view of it, because after it passed that forest, it was heading west to the state of New York, and it was just a big field before it got to the mountains. And I'm telling you, oh my God, we would have had a wholly different sight that who knows how that would have changed me. I do have a new video out. That's always fun. I'm trying to use some pre-made assets out there. So let me show you that. And I can probably put the volume on too. So we'll just take a look at this real quick. What does the Holy Land and the cult of Yahweh have to do with ancient Greece and its ionic columns? And what do they have in common with the runic language of Northern Europe? The Ebos rune, a theriomorphic serpentine letter thought to once hold the primary position in a Proto-Germanic alphabet. It was later replaced by the algaes, a polyvalent symbol, possibly depicting horns, or a being, or a tridactyl hand. Why was it later inverted? That's a story for another video. This particular artifact was said to be found with the tridactyl bodies of Peru. Does it depict the Yawas rune? And perhaps a O or Omega? Is this the word Yo, as in found in the Middle East as an alternative name to Yahweh? Does the phrase, I am the Alpha and the Omega, refer to the alphabet, to the numeric system depicting a serpentine being? But what does Yawas and Yo have to do with ancient Greece? Well, the Ionic columns, of course, or an ancient pronunciation of Io is Yo. And the Ionic columns are said to depict the eyes of a goddess. Are they the eyes of a serpent goddess? Did an ancient race of reptilians once aid humanity in the post-deluge period of our history, teaching them the life skills necessary for survival on this planet? The mystery continues. Like that. So one of the reasons I am here today is besides to talk about that groovy connection between that letter. That letter, I believe, is a theriomorphic letter. That is, it looks like a beast thing. I believe it is a serpentine form. And I believe in that statement, I am the Alpha and the Omega. You know, we always add this magic to it and this big possible philosophical meaning. And I think it's just something as simple as, hey, I am the first letter and I am the last letter. I am the first number and I am the last number. Yeah, I believe that these serpentine beings taught man mathematics and language, which is why their form appears in alphabets across time. You know, I also believe that these beings evolve. So it's interesting to see that the tridactyl hand letter, the letter that helps spawn the Psi and the Shin of Hebrew, replaced the serpentine letter. And then later, that letter was inverted. And I notice its resemblance to a peace sign. So, was there aggression between the two peoples? Because after reading all these myths and legends about dwarves and elves and fairies and centaurs and gods and all these things, it seems like the ancients were well aware of these beings. Unless, of course, these stories that we talk about aren't even really humanity stories. And these histories and myths and legends belong to this other species, this Tridactyls and all the subspecies that come with it. It's interesting stuff, nonetheless. So I do like to check every now and then to see if we have any comments. What happens if I type in any comments? Does that just stay here? I don't know. So one of the reasons I'm here today is, of course, trying to get people to come on the show. Hopefully we'll have the Cosmic Road gentleman on. I'm not really super familiar with his name. Hopefully he's willing to talk with me. If not, I'd love to be on his show. And again, I think I work sometimes better interacting with other humans instead of just myself on a camera and 3 screens and multiple windows. But let's see here. I had to have my gal in the chair help me out and create a little non-green screen for you because I owe you a look at an artifact. Now, this is one of those artifacts that claims to be Hongsheng. It's probably a modern epoxy for all I know, but I still think it's cool looking, and it is definitely indicative of some artifacts we've seen in the past. It is essentially a dragon man. It is a green dragon man, so it didn't appear on the green screen before. Now it should appear, and you'll have to decide if it is a tridactyl or not. So here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Ooh. Now we can definitely see it much better than we could before, right? All right. So you can see how green it is. I always like to turn it over, show you guys the back. You can see how these things could be worn as necklaces, possibly. So it does have ears, it does have big almond eyes, a couple of horns, and I don't know, what do you think? Is that tridactylism? Is that three fingers? I'm going to say yeah. You can tell me if you see otherwise. So there we go, the artifact of the week. I almost feel like I owe everyone a second artifact. But you know what? I'd rather save the artifact and surprise you next time so we can see. I don't even know which one I'm going to pick out. Maybe one day we'll line them up and give them cool names. You know, I like to look at things through the eyes of, well, one of my past positions was working as the activities coordinator for a natural history museum. I ran the education department while I was there. And we did a lot of cool things. We did events. We did family days. We would do themed family days. One time we did all crypto monsters for the museum for fun. So I always like to look at things through an educator's eye. And I'm also a sometimes actor, so I like to be entertaining as well. So you're not always going to get hard science with me. I try to do my best. I try to say things like furcula and sound smart. Which, by the way, that's the other thing we could talk about. You know, this Peruvian gentleman working for the Ministry of Culture claimed that the mummies, the Nazca mummies, did not represent real beings. But of course, he was looking at dolls apparently, and not the same beings. And if you question my assumption on this, is you can look at the two X-rays together. And additionally, there's been some recent evidence of an email where the Peruvian government was asked by the reporter, Joyce is his name, if in fact the Peruvian government did any potential studies, any investigations into the bodies, and the response was no. So it's very odd to a lot of us, again, that this one story, one guy comes out and says fake, and everyone latched onto that story. It's almost like, is that confirmation bias? Because everyone felt so strongly and empowered by it that it was fake. But meanwhile, 12 other men and several other news releases have already stated that these bodies are real, that there doesn't appear to be any sign of manipulation. In fact, even the metal artifacts that are attached to them, according to a Japanese scientist, they're not sure how the metal artifacts are even attached. Yeah, there's some great new shots of some of the large hands with the metal components in them. So they're kind of cybernetic, huh? Isn't that wild? Is that where humans are going to go one day? We are going to have some metal artifacts in our body? I don't know. It's very interesting. So other things I'm currently researching, if anyone wants to help, feel free. I'm looking into the various telepathy that the beings have said to have in myth and in modern folklore. So part of this telepathy is the ability to cause madness. So Pan and the Satyrs and your panic. The various sea creatures and flying creatures like harpies and nymphs and dryads, all these other beings that can woo man with their words. So I'm looking into that. In fact, I found an interesting etymological origins of dwarf, what actually means to cause madness or disturbance. So they have this ability. I don't know if it's related to some other tech, maybe. Maybe it's like the Havana syndrome. Maybe it's something like that. They're able to zap something into your head. Well, I don't know what else to say. Again, I was hoping to get some people. I've been trying to drum up some chatters. Anybody who's got an interesting experience out there. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Before I sign off, I'm just going to go ahead and check some social media sites and just make sure that there isn't anybody hanging around who might want to jump on and say hello. Let's see. Let's see if there's anybody. Well, I don't like when the screens come up like that, huh? Go ahead and play my thing in the background while I do this. Okay. Anybody from X happen to? Oh, maybe it didn't make it onto Twitter. I don't know. Huh, it says streaming, so it's probably up in that corner. Just streaming away. Yeah, I'm working with some extra screens here. And yeah, I don't know if anybody's out there or not, so I think we'll just call this a wrap. We did our little video. We talked about some theories, and we showed you a cool alien. So to be continued, Alien et al., live long and prosper. If you guys have any sort of myths or legends you'd like me to look into or you want to help me with, don't forget Google Scholar as a good place to actually find books. Yeah, remember the days we used to research books, not just some random website. But I hope to be your random website. So again, Alien it out. Live long.